In 1951, Disney continued their trend of adapting books into their animated movies. This time they adapted Lewis Carroll's books of Alice in Wonderland, Alice Through the Looking Glass, many of those tales to bring together Walt Disney's Alice in Wonderland. And that's where we're going to take a look at right now. Hey friends, welcome to Disney Pastor. I'm your host Tim, and I talk all things Disney, which includes Walt Disney Animation. I'm going to talk about the good, the average, and the bad of this movie, and wrap it up with my rating, along with a little bit of the fun factor. With that being said, let's dive into this very interesting animated classic. Let's do it.
Ooh, that's good.
First things first, the good, and I've pretty much hit it on almost every single review of all the Walt Disney animated movies I've done so far, and that is, of course, the animation. It's done very well here, and it uses such good colors. This movie has a lot of just different tones and vibrance and uniqueness that isn't the same with any other Walt Disney animated film. Because you're journeying into a unique place, i.e. Wonderland, we get to see just the animators just kind of have some fun. I mean, we have purple trees, and that's not normal. But it is fun and it's cool, and it creates just a unique world that we get to see as Alice journeys through Wonderland along with us, the audience. The other thing is the songs. Now, I would say that they're not as strong as Cinderella's songs, but there are some really solid music that is composed in this movie. We have a few Disney classic songs with I'm Late or the Unbirthday song. Those are pretty fun in its own, but there also are a few good songs here with Alice just kind of singing on her own, talking about Wonderland or giving herself such good advice. Both of those songs really help to kind of drive the story forward, which is always a good tactic to use in bringing songs into the story, and the songs overall are done quite well. The other is the characters. These are memorable characters that, of course, obviously exist within this movie, but also have been a part of many different things like Tim Burton's live action movies, as well as, of course, many different parts of the theme park. These are memorable characters. You know the Mad Hatter, March Hare, Alice. These characters, Cheshire Cat, Queen of Hearts, you're thinking of the Disney ones when you hear those characters come out. You're thinking of the animated versions. At least that's true for me, and my assumption is that is true for you as well. Before I dive into the average and the bad of this movie, question of the day is this: who is your favorite character in Alice in Wonderland? Let me know down in the comments below. For me personally, I think I gotta go with the Mad Hatter here, although Cheshire Cat is pretty close to that. Let me know yours down in the comments below. Without further ado, let's move on to the average.
Something good, something bad, a bit of both.
Now, while I enjoy most of the characters, there is a group of characters that when I was younger, I wasn't a big fan of, and to this day, I would say I'm still not the biggest fan of, and that is going to be the flowers. The flowers, yes, they're meant there for a reason. They're there to essentially help Alice's, I don't know why they're there for. I mean, she referenced them of like flowers singing their own tunes, and that's kind of cool, but they're not fun. They're not really cool characters. I mean, you love the Mad Hatter, Cheshire Cat, some of those, Queen of Hearts even. But the flowers, I don't know anyone who does like the flowers. If that is you, please let me know, because I've never met anyone who likes the flowers. The other thing is too, is while we are spending a journey along with Alice, figuring out what Wonderland is all about, I think we spend a little too much time doing that. And I mean, granted, it is Alice discovering Wonderland for the first time, and that's cool, but I think a lot of times we can get so focused on some of the wacky and crazy details that we lose focus on the story. I don't know, I feel like there's just times where it's like, oh, that's a weird looking animal. Wait, where were we in the story again? And there's a tendency to potentially lose focus if we focus on the minor details. That's not to say that the story isn't clear. I think it is very clear, and it invites us along into the story, which is pretty cool. But that is something I noticed.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
When it comes to the bad portion of this movie, I don't really have anything in particular with this movie. There's nothing I'm like, I hate with this movie. There are a lot of things I do enjoy. If there's one thing I am kind of frustrated by, but it's not necessarily movie related, it's just, I think, just Disney related in general, is how underrated this movie feels. The Silver Era in it of itself is a masterful era. I mean, you have Cinderella, this movie, Peter Pan, Sleeping Beauty. I mean, it's just banger after banger after bang. Like, a lot of great movies. But this one just feels like referenced a little bit, but I mean, you're talking about giants of Sleeping Beauty and Peter Pan and Cinderella, and those are referenced a ton in just media in general. I mean, when we think about it really, if we look back to history, Alice in Wonderland was the first ever physical media release for a Walt Disney animated movie. Like, this movie bombed at the box office. It did not do well at all, which is surprising to say the least. But this was the first ever physical media release by Disney, because back in the day, there was no VHS, there was nothing to play within the home, no home entertainment system. And so you had to go to the theater, and that was your only time you could see it. If you see it, you have to wait another 5-10 years down the road for a re-release. And so this literally kicked off, at least Disney-wise, DVDs eventually and Blu-rays, and now we have Disney Plus. I'd say partially because of this movie. And so it just feels like that got off on a tangent. That's not what the bad's for. But that being said, it's just something I noticed. But overall, the movie-wise, I don't have anything like I hate. Overall, this is a really solid movie. It leans into the wacky and craziness of your own kind of world and exploring Wonderland. We get a lot of cool characters, we get a lot of solid songs, we get a very simple story that invites us to be along part of it. So overall, I'm going to give it a 8.1 out of 10 with a fun factor of a B+. I really enjoy this one, you know, and again, I say really enjoy, but I do enjoy this one. Let me know your thoughts on Alice in Wonderland down in the comments below. I would love to hear it, love to talk with you about that, as we talk about all things Disney down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. Helps me know what you like, what you don't like. And if you're new around here, I want to say a special welcome to you and thank you for joining me on today's episode, today's adventure, whatever you want to call it. But be sure to subscribe down below and hit the bell to be notified for more videos just like this one if you're interested. But with that being said, thank you all so much for taking time out of your day. I truly appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next one. Have a great day. Goodbye.